Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hugh Bonner. I'm the Dean of the College of Health Professions at SUNY Upstate Medical University, and I want to welcome you tonight to the 2014 White Coat Ceremony for the College of Health Professions. Please give a hand to our students as they come into the auditorium. Sounds like the PAs and the PTs are a little bit noisy from being here all summer. There you go. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about the entering class of 2014 for the College of Health Professions. We have 146 new students in our 10 programs. To get 146 students, we had 1,632 applicants for these positions. We are limited by the numbers of clinical sites that we have and the amount of faculty resources that we have. So we had about a 9% of the applicants were able to get into the program. We have 66%, 2/3 are women. Ladies, congratulations. You do the math on the men. The average age is 25 years old. 93% of the student body has come from New York State. We have 16% of our students are underrepresented minority students, a very important factor because we need to recruit as many individuals from the minority communities so that we can serve the communities that are often most in need. The average GPA for the students coming in is a 3.40 average. So that's a very strong student body. Before we get into the meeting, the evening, I would like to introduce some of the people from campus who have come in to honor our students. And if you would just stand up and wave your hand, I will recognize you as well. Donna Brunch from the Upstate Foundation. Dr. Len Clary, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Joyce Griffin-Sobel, who is the Dean of the College of Nursing. Dr. Paul Grover, who is the Associate Dean for Continuing Education in the College of Medicine. Mary Knepper, who is the Director of the College of Health Professions and the College of Nursing Alumni Associations. Good friend for the college and a former speaker at graduation, Tom Quinn, who is a Special Assistant to the Senior Vice President for Hospital Affairs. Renee Rokicki from the Office of the President. Chuck Simpson, Director of Campus Activities. It's been a hard week on Chuck. Donna Vavanese, Director of Admissions for the College of Health Professions. Dr. Julie White, who is the Dean for the Student Affairs. And finally, I would like to introduce the new chair of the Department of Physical Therapy, and I think you physical therapy students and faculty will want to turn around and check out. This is Catherine Biesner, Dr. Catherine Biesner, who is in the back. We have recruited her. She will start with us in January of this coming year, and she's going to be working on campus from time to time. Catherine, welcome. To start the program, I'd like to introduce a good friend of the College of Health Professions and the person that was the president when I first came here, Dr. Gregory L. Eastwood, who is the interim president. Interim because after being president for 14 years and retiring and then working as a faculty member, he was put back into service as the interim president just last November. Dr. Eastwood.
Thank you, Dr. Bonner. It's really a pleasure to be here with you and to welcome you to Upstate Medical University. What is Upstate Medical University? I'd like to take these opportunities to let everyone, the parents, the friends, the relatives, know the kind of organization, the kind of commitment that you are joining. Upstate Medical University is your college, College of Health Professions, College of Nursing, College of Medicine, College of Graduate Studies, 2 hospitals, and a whole sort of other things, a whole array of other things that happen related to that. Research, a lot of educational programs, and clinical care. Why do I say these things? Because if you live in this region, you look at Upstate and you say, hospital. And sometimes people, this is a job for you. When you're home tonight or this weekend and you're with your friends, you can say, Upstate Medical University also does research that informs the educational programs. Think about that. Where would we be in our teaching of health professions without the discovery of new knowledge? We do research that informs the clinical care. And of course, we educate people in that kind of an environment. So that is the kind of environment that you are engaging in and you're entering. Second thing, and last thing, is the purpose of Upstate Medical University is to serve the people. The welfare of our patients is our primary concern. That's your primary concern. Now, how does that relate to you if you are, say, an MRI technician? I just had an MRI about 2 weeks ago. First of all, I interrelated very well with this person. It wasn't because of my skills, it was because of his skills. And I think he got the idea that what he was doing was for my benefit. Even if you don't have a direct contact with patients, what you do in the laboratory, what you do apart from patients, is for that patient's benefit. Think of it when you are a patient, how important it is for everybody in the team, in the healthcare team, to be focused on your interests. So whether you know it or not, you are a perfusionist already. You've made that decision. You are whatever you've decided. And you just have to go to school for a few years to actually realize that. But you've made that commitment already. And I want you to remember that. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eastwood. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Josephine Prespiora, who is the president of the Upstate Medical University College of Health Professions Alumni Association and a member of the Clinical Laboratory Sciences faculty. Josie.
I'm a little shorter than these guys here. Wow, look at you guys. You look fabulous in your white coats. Welcome to the 2014 White Coat Ceremony. The Upstate Medical University College of Health Professions Alumni Association considers it a privilege to help sponsor this event every year. And for me, it is truly an honor to be addressing all of you this afternoon. So, unless you're always looking at yourselves in the mirror, you most likely won't have much of a chance to see what you look like in your white coats. Today we got you covered, photographers are ready. While you're wearing your white coats during your rotations, what you will see, however, is the impression you make on others while you're wearing it. I want to talk a little bit about the history of wearing coats by healthcare providers. It's sort of interesting. Originally, the healers dressed in black formal attire to meet with their patients. The formal attire was a suit covered with a long black coat. These meetings were considered important and worthy of the formal attire that the healers wore. Also, the formal attire was worn when they performed autopsies. And this served two purposes. The first is to show respect for the deceased, and the second was to keep the people doing the autopsies clean. Soon, there was a transition to wearing white coats for this purpose. It happened around the same time that antisepsis came in vogue. It was all of a sudden we discovered germs, and it was important to keep clean. White coats could be washed repeatedly without fading. The black coats faded right out, so they switched. The other little piece of information I found was that healers wanted to be sure that they were aligned more closely with the scientists of our day, because there was another group of people out there, the snake oil peddlers, the charlatans, who posed as healers, and they took advantage of people who were sick. The true healers hoped that by wearing a white coat that would differentiate themselves from the charlatans and more closely align them with the scientist, and hoping that their patients would realize that they practiced healing based on scientific knowledge. So if we believe that stuff, and why wouldn't we? I found it online. It appears that white coats were first used to convey reassurance to their patients, to let them know that they would receive quality care and compassion. You're going to see that when you begin your classes and you go to your clinical rotations. Your teachers and mentors will demonstrate how they convey compassion, show respect, and use their knowledge and skills to help heal people. You all now have a white coat. That white coat, consider it an outward symbol. It represents the knowledge you will acquire, the skills you will hone, and the compassion I suspect each of you already has. Otherwise, none of you would have chosen to enter such noble professions. Noble. What does that really mean? What does it mean to be noble? That doesn't make us snobs. I found a definition of nobility in a quote from Wayne Dyer. He's a renowned author and speaker, and in his book, The Power of Intention, Learning to Co-Create Your World Your Way, he states that true nobility isn't about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you used to be. I challenge all of you to strive towards true nobility. Welcome to Upstate.
Thank you, Josie. Over the years, Franciscan Management Company has been a very large supporter of the College of Health Professions. They have given us probably pushing a little bit over $100,000 over the years to support student scholarships, furniture and equipment for the respiratory labs. We've named the student lounge after the Franciscan Management Company and for all that they've done for us over the years. They are one of the major sponsors for our program today, and it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Joe Nicoletti, who's the Executive Director of Sales and Corporate Development for Franciscan. Joe is a graduate, 1976, if I'm not mistaken, for our respiratory therapy program. And by the way, all of the executives at Franciscan Management Company are alums of our respiratory program. Joe went on and got an additional degree as a registered nurse. Franciscan has the distinct ability to provide health care to a large number of the individuals throughout central and northern New York. And we're very proud to have work with them. One other thing about Joe Nicoletti that is very important for our college, his daughter, Christina Sirek, is on our faculty, and some of you will have her in English and technical writing over the next year. So, Joe, thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you very much. No problem. I'm even shorter than Josie. Okay. That's what happens when you're Italian. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Welcome the student professionals, and family and friends. I say student professionals because someday when you leave here, you're going to be an actual professional. And you're going to go out into the world and you're going to do all the great stuff that you learned here. It's a great campus, great instructors, great professors. And if you work hard, it comes back to you 10 times fold. Josie was touching on the white coat and different meanings and whatnot, and I thought about this. And what is a big thing for me is, being a respiratory therapist and being an RN, it's kind of a nice fit for me. But patient advocacy is so important. And you're going to learn about that amongst all the other technical things that you're going to do here. But when you leave here, the thing about the white coat, whether it's a white coat or it's a green scrubs or blue scrubs whatever medical attire you're going to be wearing, whether it's in a hospital, a clinic, the thing that's really important is when you walk into a patient's room, a clinic room, an exam room, that patient that's in there, all their hopes and everything of that day's testing or surgery or whatever, they're all resting on what you have to say. So you have to present yourself with professionalism, be a patient advocate, stand up for the patient, and always listen to the patient. We're going through a lot of phases with some really high-tech stuff, which is fantastic. But more so than not, don't be afraid to get that nice face-to-face and hear what they have to say, because the patient, they're the best, generally speaking, they're the best historian that you'll have when you're taking care of them. So I want to congratulate everybody. It's awesome. You're going to love Syracuse. There's a lot to do up here. I loved it up here. I kind of envy everybody. So good luck with everything. Study hard.
Student government plays a major role on our campus. We are very lucky this year to have a graduate of our Clinical Laboratory Sciences Department who has served previously on the board of directors for the student government, was elected this year to be the vice president for the Health Professions College. Robin LeClaire, who is, as I said, is a graduate of our Clinical Laboratory Sciences, and she's not only wearing a white coat, but she is in this year's class for a physician assistant. So, Robin is one of those individuals that came from the North Country and had gone to JCC, and one of the pipeline of many, many students that we've been able to recruit from JCC. And she came here, went into our Clin Lab Sciences program, and we kept her and trapped her to come on back to go into the PA program. Robin.
Sorry, everyone. I think I got a little more applause because of my classmates. Now, I don't want to reiterate too much about what Josie was saying, but I was asked to speak and welcome you all to the college. As an alum, I would like to tell you my personal experience. They don't lie when they say that this school, it really is quite a community and it's a family. With Josie and the rest of the Clin Lab Science faculty, they were incredible for me, and I'm sure that all the programs across the board, the faculty is here to help. All of the deans of student affairs, Dean White is incredible. Everyone in administration staff, they're all here to help. So if you have any questions, any issues across the board, across the university, reach out to everyone because they're all really helpful and they're here for you. They're here to see you succeed. Now you might be sitting here wondering, yeah, why is she talking? I just want to get out of this white coat, go out to dinner with my family. All your parents are here, I'm sure they'll take you out. Mine are. But participating in this ceremony, it's not just about getting your picture taken in this white coat and looking all professional. It's really about stepping forward and becoming a professional. I don't know where all of your backgrounds are, but this was my first step to a really professional program and a professional career. And I know that some are here for second careers, some are right out of college, everyone's different, but regardless of what program you're in, you're entering a new profession, you're entering this medical career where you are so important to these patients, and you're just entering a very professional and patient-oriented field. So the white coat, a little bit, Josie gave you a tiny history, but I have a little bit different from what she found. And they have a couple different things that the white coat is symbolic of. Of course, the obvious thing as a Clin Lab Science, we wear these to protect our bodies. It's physical barrier, regardless of what field you're working in, it is there to protect you. But it's also, again, it's a tie to science and to your career and all of the training that you got from undergrad all the way through. everything, it all compiles together to focus on the science aspect and all the technical abilities that you are all learning and that you'll be practicing. And it also is white in color, that it's supposed to symbolize healing and life and promote hope in your patients and everyone around you. So as you're going through your education here at Upstate and going to continue on with your careers in healthcare, I encourage you to always wear these white coats with pride as they symbolize your commitment to your profession and to humanism and your patients. Welcome to Upstate.
Well, we won't tolerate any rowdiness down there. In 49 BC, Julius Caesar crossed the river Rubicon. In crossing the Rubicon, he made an irrevocable commitment for his legions and for himself to declare war on the Roman Empire. As you might know, he was probably the greatest emperor of the Roman Empire, although he did, a few years after he became emperor, have a really nasty day in the middle of March one year. Today's white coat ceremony is a symbolic crossing of the Rubicon, and we recognize that you're transitioning from a general academic campus to a professional campus, and all the changes that are expected of you as a result. As a professional, you will impact the lives of hundreds of thousands of patients and their families. Some of you are going to save some lives. All of you will improve the lives of your patients and their families because of the changes that you've made. That's a tremendous responsibility. As you cross the stage today with your white coat, you become a colleague with all of the other people in your profession. You become a professional with all the responsibilities and the focuses of being a professional. Your faculty, both on campus and on your clinical rotations, will focus on your success, and they will prepare you for a career. Your faculty is an awesome assemblage of professionals who are recognized leaders in their own profession. You could never find a better group of faculty to prepare you to continue on your professional growth. Today, you are preparing for the future, but as you cross the stage today, you remember that this is the future. Welcome, professionals. Come cross the Rubicon today and continue your professional growth. Now, the program, you notice we had to start a little bit late. We didn't get the stairs put in place in time, so that once they were put in place, that will now allow us to continue with the program. How we will work this, Jim Vossler, who is a member of the faculty in the clinical laboratory sciences, will introduce each of the students as they cross the stage. Jim you will get, when Jim announces the program, the department chair will lead the students of that department up and around to the back. When the students come up, they will hand Jim their card that describes how to pronounce their names and what program they're in. And if you will go across the stage, Dr. Eastwood, Joe Nicoletti, and I will have the privilege of having a picture made with you, and Josie and Robin, sorry, CFPAs, I need some help today. We'll greet you at the other end of the stage. So with that, Jim, take her away.
Okay, welcome. Will the department chairs for cardiovascular perfusion and clinical laboratory sciences please rise and lead your students to the back of the auditorium and proceed forward via stage right. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Bruce Searles, Chair, Department of Cardiovascular Perfusion. I'd like to introduce Mr. Pedro Gallegos, Jr. Mr. Andrew Hovinsky. Minho Lee, recipient, College of Health Professions Alumni Scholarship. Alyssa Urich. Gabrielle Ferraro. Kurban Lokanwala. Anthony Corsino. Olivia DeWong. It is my pleasure to introduce Susan Graham, Chair, Clinical Laboratory Sciences Program. Christina Tripodi, excuse me. Catherine McDonald. Mary Pishnick. Yeah, I like that. Lori Tyler. Magenta Miller. Derek Graney. Gina Bartholomew. Angela Smith. Danielle Safati. William Firo, recipient College of Health Professions Alumni Scholarship. Brandon Mack. Jack Lamb. Deanna Viscusi. Ciel Alatawi. Lilia Delia. Kayla Crouch. Kelly Bouchard. Lindsay Barker. Elizabeth Reed. And her husband, Justin Reed. Hi. Stephanie Cortez. Nefertiti Tayahemba. Will the program director for Medical Imaging Ultrasound Program and the Department Chair for Medical Imaging Sciences please rise and lead your students to the back of the auditorium and proceed forward via stage right. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Kenneth Galbraith, Program Director, Medical Imaging Sciences Ultrasound Program. Jarrett Fonda. Erica Binion. Christine Losito. Lindsay Murfitt. Rebecca Bennett. Amanda Gilbert. Hannah Johnson. I would like to introduce Mr. David Clementi, Chair, Medical Imaging Sciences Radiography Program. Ama Pajzakovic. Tiffany Seeley. Joseph Santos. Michael Ryan. Sasha Pina. Emily Anderson. Ashley Ledger. Olivia Greep. Chantel Seller, recipient, College of Health Professions Alumni Scholarship. Diana Reinert.
Chelsea.
Chelsea Zabo. Brittany Streeter. Rachel Parkinson. Alexandria Calabrese. Melissa Lynch. Cara Pontello. Rishi Patel. Liz Steele, recipient, College of Health Professions, Alumni Scholarship. Michael Brooks. Jason Orsburn. Will the department chairs for physical therapy and physician assistant studies please rise and lead your students to the back of the auditorium and proceed forward via stage right. It is my pleasure to introduce Sandra Banis, Founding Chair, Department of Physician Assistant Studies. Colleen Larson. Erica Dutter. Tracy Andrus. Ashley Restateras. Chelsea Curtis. Robin LeClaire. Sarah Thomas. Catherine Malizio. Dorothy S. Elizabeth. Maggie Gamby. Katie Greer. Jennifer Hingry. Emily Crandall. Sarah Weitzman. Sarah Moore. Michelle Bunicor. Kelly Parks. Kyla Edelman. Tina Mindich. Rebecca Ciliano. Samantha Cinch. Catherine Kubler. David Messinger. Michael Roberts. Joseph Volanti. Michael Mosiak. Michael Privutera. Or excuse me, Jacob. Tyler Rathmel. Nathaniel Maggio. Cindy Rahu. Alana Radin. Lauren Kresak. Alyssa Bovalino. Alyssa Steckel. Brittany Booza. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Susan Miller, Chair, Physical Therapy Education Program. Michelle Brandt. Anna Maria Dowker. Ryan Cullen. Robert Osborne. Megan Passarell. Lauren Stockley. Brittany Young. Naomi Ipe. Abigail Lind. Emily Cody. Julianne Egan. Chelsea Schumann. Elizabeth Darrow. Gregory Lloyd. Nicholas Francisco. Thomas Quincy. Mary Beth Flynn. Daniel Serliglia. Meredith Pettit. Lauren McIntyre. Jason Torrey. Alicia Van. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Joe Valeco. Dylan Caswell. Patrick Schroeder. Michael Camesso. Laura Mastro. Emily Hersey. Rosemary Kolb. Maritza Rodriguez. Will the department chairs for radiation therapy and respiratory therapy please rise and lead your students to the back of the auditorium and proceed forward via stage right. It is my pleasure to introduce Joan O'Brien, Chair, Radiation Therapy Program, and Senior Associate Dean for the College of Health Professions. Hannah Eklund. Brandy Schoonmaker. Abigail Whiting, recipient, College of Health Professions Alumni Scholarship. Leanne Spingler. Catherine Trombley. William Presteman. Michael Martinek. Christopher Regan. Zachary Fellows. Brandon Frary. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Mr. Joseph Sorbello, Chair, Respiratory Therapy Education Program. Justin Baker. Daniel DeMattis. Danielle May. Diana Oakman. Anna Pascarella. Taniana Onafrechuk. Neil Albito. Eric Duke. Caleb Shelton. Cassandra Fortune. It is this point in the program where I have one of the greatest pleasures, in that we now have an opportunity to recite the oath of the health professions. I would ask that all of my colleagues and any of my colleagues in the back that wish to join in, please rise so that we can recite the oath of the health professions. In the presence of my colleagues, family, friends, and teachers, I proudly make this solemn vow. I will give to my teachers the respect and gratitude that is their due, and share my knowledge with those who follow me. Congratulations.
The entering class of 2014, congratulations. We're very proud of you. Go ahead and sit down, please. You heard two of our speakers talk about the white coat. Let me put that in a different perspective. They were wrong. The white coat is made for purity. That is a symbol of the healthcare professions. That describes all of us within the healthcare professions. We look at the white coat as honor. We look at the white coat as purity. We look at the white coat as cleanliness. It's the same thing if you take a white light and pass it through a prism. You come up with all of the colors of the spectrum. Well, that's what the white coat should really be viewed as. Pardon me as I undress. As I said, just as you pass a white light through a prism, it comes up with all the colors of the spectrum. When you pass a white light through the spectrum of the health professions, you come up with all of the professions that are within the College of Health Professions. So anytime you see a white coat, look at the true symbolism that it stands for, not only purity and cleanliness and ethical standards, but of all the health professions that make up the care for our individual patients. Now, it is my pleasure, and I would like to thank all of those who have been involved with the program that we put together. I would like to thank our sponsors, the President's Office, Dr. Eastwood, Joe, representing the Franciscan Management Group. Thank you for your support. The alumni associations that have supplied all of the white coats. It is my honor to say we are very proud to have our students and our graduates among us tonight. I would also like to thank Linda Curry, I don't know if Linda is still here, and Diane Conklin, the Chief of Staff of the College of Health Professions, for all the work that they have put into this program. As we end tonight, I would ask all of the parents, families, friends, if you would go back and begin getting some food for yourselves and so forth. We want all of the white-coated students to stay here. We're going to get a group picture, and they will catch up with you in a few minutes. So if you would go back and get something to eat there. And I might point out, the people in the tie-dyes in the back, the Alumni Association is selling paraphernalia that you may be very interested in. Purchasing any of that will support the good deeds that the Alumni Association provides. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening. And congratulations to the incoming class of 2014.